Welcome back to our discussion on low-cost computing. With me here in the studio, Mr. Rodrigo Arboleda, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the One Laptop Per Child Association, based in Miami, Florida, United States of America. Was born in Columbia and was educated at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Has been a close associate of Mr. Nicholas Negroponte, among other people. With us here is Mr. Satish Jha, Chairman of the OLPC India Foundation, former journalist, international executive, evangelist, or wants to provide a computer to over 250 million children in this country, or 250 odd million children. Mr. Arboleda, this project of the government of India, Akash, it's a tablet, it costs $35, very, very cheap, barely 3,000 rupees. If you just sort of multiply it by 50 rupees to $1, it works out to less than 2,000 rupees, 1,750. Now, the government of India floated a tender with Wi-Fi capability only, and Mr. Tuli, the Sunit Singh Tuli, the CEO of DataWind, is of the view that this should eventually have a GPRS kind of module, so it becomes more functional. Your comments on this particular device and what you think of it?
Well, first of all, we have not seen one of the devices, so it will be inappropriate for us to comment on something that we have not even seen or tested. Evidently, the idea is a fantastic one, and if it produces what they say it will do, it will be a complete revolution that will be the first ones to endorse, and they will be the first ones to support.
Because Mr. Nicholas Negroponte, they're talking about $100. $100 laptop, that's like, you know, by current exchange rate, multiply that by 50 rupees. Yes. Now here you're talking about, instead of 100, you're talking about one-third that price. Oh, well, about one-third, yes. $35. Now, is this, are we, you know, earlier the government of India talked about a Simputer, a very, very low-cost device. Yes.
Yeah, well, what we have been doing is we have produced a laptop for education and for children of 4 years and up. And it is endowed with a lot of applications and a lot of capacity to be used by a child of that age for education. So it is not so much the cost, but it's also what is it made for and what it is capable of doing.
Yeah, we will just stick for the time being to this particular project. Satish, what Mr. Tuli has gone on record saying is that before the launch of the product, they were expecting about 250,000 units to be sold in India over a year. But now they are sitting on 120,000 pre-bookings. And if you say you add government orders, institutional orders, other enterprises, it could go up to about 2.3 million units. So already there's a huge amount of interest. How do you see this particular scheme? And I mean, in the past too, we've heard of Simputers, low-cost computers. Is this for real?
Well, if you look at the history, Parajoy, Simputer, when it came, I looked at the whole cost of doing it. It was 27,000 rupees actually if you put it together. That is 2001. And this is 2006, we come to Mobilis, also announced by the government of India. We have to ask, where does it go? My point is, two things make it happen. One is technology, which is always 95% cases being created in America, and design, architecture happens there. And best manufacturers no one can beat today, we all agree, is China. If it's neither America nor China, so we have no technology, no low-cost manufacturing. So I'm very, very happy that somebody has come forward with this. My aspirations are to make $0 laptop.
No, 1 minute.
Yes.
We are really talking about a laptop, or not a laptop, a gadget, which allows you to use it as a mobile phone, to use it for computing, and also as a means of entertainment. This is what Mr. Tuli is claiming. And the whole cost is $35, which is, well, 1,750, but you're saying something in the region of 2,500 to 3,000 rupees per gadget.
My point is, you can make computers for $1, $10, $50, $100, $1,000, $1 million. The question is, you cannot, in this comparative electronic economy, you cannot do any better than what the market does. It's a question of, you can produce any machine to any price point as you like, but you will get the features for what you pay for. But OLPC, in contrast, is about education. It's about children. It's about villages. It's about schools with no infrastructure. It's about schools where teachers don't come. It's about a world with no possibilities and delivering them the world's best possible thing.
Okay.
It is about holistic way of looking at education.
I'm sticking to the price factor. How important is the price factor when you want to convince a poor person whose family is spending more than half their income, say, on food, that it is important for you to invest in this gadget, in this piece of equipment?
Very simple. The price to the person who is going to use it should be zero. That's the important part.
That you're living in a dream world.
No, we have done it. We have delivered already 2.5 million units to 41 countries in 21 different languages at zero value to the user.
Who paid for it?
The governments.
Okay. So you are saying the government should subsidize the price?
Absolutely. Right now, they might be subsidizing via a telephone carrier, which is what they are doing right now in many, many countries of the world. You can buy a BlackBerry, you can buy a Nokia telephone for almost nothing as long as you sign a contract for 2 years of usage, in which case your monthly fee of usage is going to pay for the
as soon as
gadget.
you sign up,
So
your service provider is going to make sure.
They will be very happy with you. But that's not the case, because you cannot ask a child in a poor rural village of India to pay for a monthly fee of usage. That has to be zero as well. And the only way to make it zero is if the school has a downloaded capacity of satellite or fiber optics signal, and from there on you distribute it within the school via Wi-Fi. And everything is free. The cost of the computer and the cost of the monthly fee for connectivity.
Okay, Satish, is this possible in India? Here we know the number of schools, not just without teachers, without blackboards in this country. We talk about India having done amazingly well in terms of enrollment, but we have a long way to go in terms of ensuring that children don't drop out, to reduce the dropout rate. So these are huge challenges. And when you have the issue of government funding and government subsidies, the straight question, if you have a limited amount of money, what do you spend it for? Your blackboard, your school building, a toilet for girl children, or a computer?
I would say that we have to think differently. Just consider this. OLPC, in my opinion, is a free computer from day one. If you think in 5 years terms, in 5 years, a desktop consumes 15,000 rupees of electricity alone. If I buy OLPC today, give it to my child, it will cost less than 15,000 to run the whole OLPC, educate everyone over a 5-year period, and less than the cost of a desktop's electricity consumption.
But somebody has to still pay for it up front, right? Before, over that 3-year period, 5-year period, those costs are recovered or amortized, or call it what you like.
I entirely agree with you. We just think of it this way. Who could afford housing at the start of the career? We have done everything possible for those who can afford. But we are not investing in India's future by neglecting 90% of our children. It is an investment which will pay off like nothing else. Just imagine, just think what it will do to India. Every child in India's villages is potentially like you, me, or better.
Okay. I can give you some examples.
Please do that.
Of the 41 countries in which we have been already. I can give you an example of Uruguay. The cost of the whole project for Uruguay was less than 5% of the budget of the educational ministry. The number of dollars that they spend per books per year, per student, is about $20 per student per year. That alone means that in a very few number of years, you could pay the computer with just the savings in the number of dollars that you spend on books, because these computers will come with electronic books that will not be deteriorated with time, it will not get wet, and you will not have to transport the enormous amount of weight and the cost incurred by transporting the amount of weight to remote villages of a lot of books.
Not to mention the number of trees you have to cut down to make the paper for the books.
I can imagine that. So, yes, the government of Uruguay financed the whole project with their own resources without having to resort to the World Bank or to the international community for any single dollar. It only required one thing, the political will.